I'm just very disappointed in the fact that it just seems like these courts just don't even want to hear the arguments. And I think that the American people have the right to, at the very least, give the opportunity to present the evidence, right? Let's hear the evidence. Let's hear the facts. And then let's make a decision. But instead, we don't even get the opportunity to do that, at least not in the Supreme Court. And again, it's extremely disappointing considering all the effort that President Trump put into getting ACB on the Supreme Court just for her to not even want to hear the case. Along with Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and John Roberts, who, nobody's surprised about John Roberts' position on this. But you would think that having a conservative Supreme Court would play in our favor in terms of, at the very least, just hearing the arguments, having a chance. But unfortunately, it seems like that's not how the judicial system is working. So this is currently where we're at. Not necessarily a great position, but nonetheless, this is it. Now, Rudy Giuliani came out and basically said, listen, guys, it's not over. And he laid out what the current plan is moving forward for the Trump legal team to still try to fight for this election. Take a look. Listen.
Where do you go from here? What is the president's path? And is there one?
Well, yes, there is. I think this case, the case wasn't rejected on the merits. The case was rejected on standing. So the answer to that is to bring the case now in the district court by the president, by some of the electors, alleging the same facts, where there would be standing, and therefore get a hearing. Because the worst part of this is basically the courts are saying they want to stay out of this, and they don't want to give us a hearing. They don't want the American people to hear these facts. And I think that's a terrible, terrible mistake. These facts will remain an open sore in our history unless they get resolved. They need to be heard. They need to be aired. And somebody needs to make a decision on whether they're true or false. And some court's going to have the courage to make that decision.
Mr. Mayor, this is not just about President Trump. It's about election integrity and elections moving forward. And the fact that these courts do not want to hear these cases, and even the Supreme Court in this ruling, you had Alito and Thomas saying, okay, well, we would like to hear the case, but we're not going to remedy it. So what's the point of hearing it?
Well, I don't know. I actually don't understand that decision. I don't know how you hear a case and don't remedy it. Just hear it for the purpose of hearing it? That makes no sense to me as a lawyer or as a logical proposition. When you hear a case, you make a decision that the person is entitled to relief or is not entitled to relief. Not they're just entitled to tell their story. So I don't quite understand what that means.
Mr. Mayor, I know you talked to the president just after this ruling came down. What's his reaction, and how's he doing through all this?
The president's reaction is to look at other options. I mean, we always knew that this was an option, that we would have to convert this into, in fact, originally we thought about this as possibly 4 or 5 separate cases. So that's the option we're going to have to go to. There is nothing that prevents us from filing these cases immediately in the district court, in which the president, of course, would have standing. Some of the electors would have standing, in that their constitutional rights have been violated. And we really believe, above and beyond President Trump and Joe Biden, these facts need to be heard, because this kind of voter fraud can continue to go on if it's not nipped in the bud. If we don't stand up to it, if we allow the big media and the big tech and the Democrat politicians and the Washington elite, if we allow them to roll over this, election fraud is just going to get worse and worse and worse. I mean, this was the worst in our history so far, and it's got to be stopped. And I think the only person who has the courage to stand up to it is Donald Trump.
Well, courage is one thing the president has. You better believe it, as they came for him the moment he came down that escalator. Rudy Giuliani, you've got tremendous courage, too. Your whole team does. God bless you as you move forward. I know you're about to huddle and get another plan, so I appreciate you sharing some precious.
Before it became the centerpiece of your bedroom, before it went through detailed quality checks and
time with us tonight.
We're not
Thank
finished,
you, sir.
believe me.
All right, guys, so I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly how this district court strategy is going to work. Now, at the end of the day, my position basically remains the same, in which it's been basically from the beginning of this thing. Just let all the cases play out, let everything play out in court, and then just go from there. So it seems like that the Supreme Court is not necessarily the end of this, according to Rudy Giuliani, and that they're going to file separate cases in lower courts and go from there. So we'll see how that plays out. Now, the only other option I see for the president, because now all the states have essentially certified the election, right? The only other option outside of the court system that I see for President Trump is through Congress, right? So when new Congress meets, the Republicans can decide to try to reject the electoral college votes and try to get them thrown out, and thus preventing Joe Biden from reaching 270 electoral votes needed to actually win. Now, if that was to happen, if that strategy is successful, then it would come down to the House delegation, in which the Republicans currently have a projected advantage in the House delegations, which would, if all of them fall in line, would theoretically be a path to victory for President Trump. So at this point, this is basically where we're at. Guys, like I said, honestly, am I disappointed? Yeah, absolutely. I at the very least want to hear the evidence, right? I want to hear the arguments. I want to see the case play out in Supreme Court. I think it's weird. I think it's sketchy that it didn't. But at the end of the day, am I, going to cry about it? No. But I am disappointed. However, like I said, Rudy Giuliani is still fighting. They still think that they have some type of path moving forward here. And we'll see what happens. Now, I want to hear you guys' thoughts. What do you guys currently think about the current situation? Let me know in the comment section.